Welcome to Season 2, Episode 9 of We're Just Talking About It. Today we wrap up our conversation with Mina Sharif. We touch on a variety of topics, from how younger generations view religions and why it's important to have faith, especially in war-torn countries, plus stereotypes Mina deals with being a Muslim woman who returned to Afghanistan after living in the West. And finally, we discuss a TV show Mina is working on about a Muslim woman in the workplace. The show addresses a lot of Muslim stereotypes through comedy and entertainment. We hope you enjoy this episode.
As much as, like I said, I'd kind of grown up happily distanced from religion in my community, it does make me sad to see younger generations not even give it the slightest chance, just because they're more, and rightfully so, focused on having a different upbringing and having more opportunities to be open and have their education and have their freedoms, but because they associate religion with what held them back from that.
I think that's what's difficult about now is that people have changed, the way we live has changed, but religion tends to stay in the same place, it feels like. It kind of feels like it's stuck in time. It feels like this thing that lives in the past and hasn't grown or changed with us. You can distance yourself from it.
That's right. And then you end up like me, reading spiritual things and poetry and suddenly...
Right, and having your own relationship with God that does not belong in a church. Yeah, you find your own church, for sure.
Deciding that you're some kind of rebel when really the root of it is so similar, and that's what's... It took me a really long time, so then I'm just, wondering if a lot of these young guys that I get to see growing up will ever have that opportunity. I would want them to at least have that opportunity to look at it in that kind of light, as something that could be a comfort to them and that they could learn from.
Yeah, I liked what you said earlier about that. I've seen that around the world. Whenever somebody is in trouble, and it doesn't matter if they're urban or rural, or rich or poor, when people are really struggling, many people, that's when they find religion, and it is comforting to them. It's designed to give you hope and faith that there can be a better tomorrow. And so I think you're right. If we just drive it out of society and out of culture, it can have the opposite effect.
Yeah,
then
that
where will
scares
people
me.
go? What do they turn to?
Me. Absolutely, because the amount of death that we deal with in Afghanistan, just we forget about the poverty and all of the other very real issues that are going on there. Just the past, I would say even 5-7 years in Kabul, in the city that used to feel really safe, you lose friends all the time. I work with a lot of young people, and a lot of them went to the American University, and that was attacked. And so with this whole era of rebellion of I'm gonna denounce religion because I want this progress, and because it really kind of muddles in with Taliban and oppressed, being oppressed, they let the whole thing go. But what happens when their best friend is killed, and what happens when they need some kind of comfort and hope for the future? I really feel like religion could be a potentially really important healing mechanism for them too. And if they've completely denounced all of it, it becomes all that much more difficult to get through the kind of situations that they get through. That's a personal opinion, but I feel like I've seen it comfort so many people.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. That's the concern I have. If people need something to comfort them, and if that's what it is for so many people, it's not a bad thing. If it's forced,
I've seen mothers who've lost 4 or 5 of their children, and not all in one shot. This son died this way and that son died that way, and they somehow power through and take care of the rest of their family, with, for them, the comfort of religion. And that's what's changed my mind about the value of it so much, is first and foremost how much healing it can give. It can give such a broken place. There's people, nobody doesn't have friends that have died, and that includes even people like me who didn't grow up there. You go back and live there for a few years, unfortunately, you're probably going to meet someone who ends up being killed or dies in some way. It's really difficult.
Yeah,
and so that comfort needs to be there.
It's important, and I found I've probably turned more to it over time, and I'm with you. If you've ever been to Afghanistan, you know somebody who has died a horrible death, probably, and not even a
horrible one,
death.
Usually, yeah.
I look through my pictures. I've traveled to almost every province. I look through my photos sometimes, and I see pictures of people I know who had died. Or I'll see photographs of bombings of places I've walked through, and I'll see little. I know those same group of little kids that are lying there on the ground were the same kids that were there every day, on the streets. You just know.
Yeah.
Those were humans you came in contact with. How do you deal with that? You need
That's
something.
Right. And even thinking of their families, right? Like, It's hard enough for us, but their families, I feel like if they didn't have that comfort of religion and that the hope that it gave them, and I say religion, I didn't even say Islam. Whatever
faith,
it is,
whatever,
for you, faith, yeah. I'm all for it in that sense. I'm worried about them not having it.
I tell a story a lot about a time we went to meet one of the new Afghan army soldiers, one of the first ones that was wounded, and he had a wound to his stomach, and he probably wasn't going to make it. And we went to the hospital to meet him and to visit him, and I remember his father just standing beside him with tears running down his face, which I had never seen before, an Afghan man crying. And he just looked at us and said, I'm proud that my son was willing to give his life for his country. And you're right. If he didn't have some faith of some sort to cling to, where would he think his son was going? He said, my son will die a hero, and he's a martyr. And I picture his face quite a bit. What if he didn't have faith in something, some religion? Then what does he have of his son?
Exactly. And I actually used to think it was just kind of over the top nuts, because I felt like, that's it? Your son was killed and you're just fine, you're just fine with it like that? And I didn't judge it, but I was just shocked at how quickly they accepted it. But then the more time I spent there and the more I saw and the more, it wasn't like a son getting killed was a rare thing. They had to really, it's a part of life. It's not like a family that had a tragic story. Every family has some tragedy in their story. So I do think it's kind of imperative.
I guess switching gears a little bit, something you'd mentioned I wanted to talk about for our audience. You'd mentioned being told about the difference between a real Afghan and a not real Afghan. So are you? Do they call you a Halfgan? Do you even get that treatment?
What does the definition look like?
I'm down to I'm like an eighth Gan, because I just was there for a while and spent 20 years focused on Afghanistan. So what was it like for you?
You get at least Halfgan, definitely. It was, like I said, it kind of depends on who you're talking to, on how they see you. Have they already generalized you or not? Because in the early days, anyone from abroad kind of fit the same, was cast under the same description, like whether you were an American or an Afghan American or
Germany,
Afghan
UK,
European.
wherever. You're not from Kabul or
it kind
Mazar.
of wasn't that. It wasn't. I think we were all just treated kind of the same way. In the sense that we were different. The Afghans were treated as almost like this, there was this resentment, like you're kind of a traitor, and then the Americans or whoever else was kind of like really well appreciated. I think over the years, the longer I've been there, I've felt a lot more accepted than the early days, just because younger generations are starting to understand that it's been such a personal choice for me to go back, and they know about the option I had not to be there. That's making more sense to them, that I've left something to be there. But at the same time, you were never described as You know what? The biggest compliment, let's put it this way. Whenever someone wants to really compliment me in Afghanistan, they're like, it's like you never left. You're so Afghan.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that. Yeah. Like your accent's even wrong. You're speaking Pashto and Dari all wrong. You're clearly not really Afghan. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like you never left.
So, yeah, but when you're practically, you're like an Afghan raised girl. Like that's the biggest compliment.
You're like an Afghan.
Yeah. So definitely but the thing is, I got over that too. I didn't mind being stereotyped by them because I found I was stereotyping them right back.
Sure.
Why am I surprised when a family is super open-minded and sends their daughter on a vacation and they're okay with it? Why does that surprise me? Is because I've already decided that you have your limitations as far as how open-minded you can be,
right?
And so in turn you have your limitations of how culturally in tune you think I can be. So we're good. We're all horrible.
Yeah, right. It's like so refreshing to be reminded that you're like, oh wow, maybe, okay, that's a check. Like, I've got to be more open-minded. I thought I was doing okay, but it's nice to kind of have those little checks.
Everybody holds stereotypes. You cannot
it upsets
avoid
you
it.
so much less.
You just think the positive ones are okay. But
right.
No, but that's really still a stereotype.
Yeah. They think. I mean, there's little terms. Do you know when Afghans would come from abroad, they would call them dog washers.
Oh.
Because in the Afghan community, I mean, it's changed a lot. Now everyone's got a pet dog, but it was like the lowest thing that they could think of. Yeah. That you've gone off to some country and you're washing dogs, like you're treating dogs like kings, and so they called us dog washers. And we lived in this one guest house we love dogs. So we said, you know what? That term doesn't really bother me. I'm literally going to go and wash a dog. And I remember I remember some of the staff being just kind of appalled, but then obviously they had to let it go. And then they loved the puppy, and then they, got to see what joy a puppy brings to a household. But yeah, that's my point. We all got them. We all got the stereotypes. We can break some of them, and some of them you just say that's okay, because I think a lot of them are closed-minded in certain topics and certain viewpoints. They're allowed to think something of me too, or assume it.
Right.
Yeah, that is a fair
street.
Point.
Yeah.
But I think you've got kind of the trump card there. I don't need to be here. I have another life in another country, and I choose to be here to help my ancestral home to be a better place. In the end, I think you'll get ultimate respect for anybody that comes to that realization. You don't have to.
Yeah. I mean, it's especially in the wintertime when there's no central heating going on there.
Yes.
I tend to give myself that speech a lot.
You're doing the right thing.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't have to be here. Yeah, so that it helps. It's nice when someone can pick that up on their own. You don't need to be saying that to anyone.
Right.
Yeah, but I appreciate colleagues and friends that kind of know that. Some of them tell me I should go back. What are you doing here?
Yep. Yeah, I can imagine. So what are you doing now? Tell us about your current projects and things you're working on. We're actually kind of interested in that side of it, as we are in the production and communication business as well.
Oh, okay, cool. The project that I recently just kind of wrapped up with, and I'm here for leave in Canada for a while, but it's a TV series called Roya. And the premise is that it's based loosely on Ugly Betty, if you've ever seen that show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's really just kind of fish out of water sitcom story, but with kind of a heavier message, just because it's the Afghanistan context. So this girl is not awkward and dorky like Ugly Betty was. She is a girl who's come out of a very traditional family and decided to be the first to work in an office. Oh. So that's where she's the oddball, not for being awkward, but for being a girl, period. So it follows her and different characters, and how there's her family and then there's her office her colleagues and her friends. And it was really, really a fun project because for so long, things have been in lecture format, and I don't know that that's only religion, but religion does play a role in that too, where even just the way TV is, it's straightforward, not a lot of mix of comedy with messaging. So that was fun to do. And it really hit on a lot of topics of arranged marriage and being a little bit real about things. Like the main character's father was against her going to work. And the mom hadn't worked before either. So the brother had his feelings about it. And so she really had to go through that struggle. And what's been great is that we're at a point where we're doing focus groups and finding out, how audiences are responding to it. And they really do see themselves in that story. The girls who have broken that barrier and gone and worked in an office when no one in their family had before. But with, again, like I said, a little bit of comedy. It's a little slapstick for me, but it works. But it does work. It works, yeah.
I used to watch the Ministry in that early Afghan sitcom they did. Is it that level of comedy, or is it a little bit less?
It's a little more, half-hour sitcom than, I think the Ministry was almost a little bit in the drama department, but with comedy in it. Yeah. I remember the producers for that are my good friends. They did wonderful, but this one is a little more young, I would say. Like the main characters are all in their late teens, early 20s. It's an all amateur cast too, so.
Oh, awesome! That's a perfect vehicle, though, to have these conversations, like you said, that not in a preachy way, but just to get them out in public, so you can have those focus groups and talk about it. Especially with what's going on right now, and the peace process, and the hashtag Afghan women will not go back. This is a great time to have a show like that to get people, men too, talking about this. And
acknowledging everyone's view, because there are characters in the show that say, like, it's not a women's place. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't want my wife to work. And so we have to address those conversations instead of only having shows that tell the audience women shouldn't be doing this. And then, half an hour later, another TV program comes on that says women should do everything. And that's the end of that, So what I like about it is that we address everyone's point of view and see about how it could work out in the end for everybody, so that everyone has to get out of their comfort zone a little bit for all of this to work.
It seems really powerful. That's really exciting. Is this a first of its kind type of sitcom show where you're doing that, where you're actually, talking in real life conversations and having this conflict?
I think so. I think what I appreciated about working on this the most was that it's 100% written by an Afghan female writer, a young one. So whereas in the past, I've actually been part of development and script writing, and I do my best, but it should be written by someone who's lived it, not just observed it, and experienced it. And it's directed by an Afghan born and raised young guy. And so I don't want to say that it's authentic so much as it is just really doesn't have a lot of room for outside influence, because it was all created by young Afghans.
Right, just very genuine, genuine experience.
I'd say it's the first, of its kind that I've seen for something like that.
And is it in Dari or Pashto or both?
It's in Dari, I believe, and I think they're actually going to end up putting them on YouTube.
Awesome.
Oh, wow.
As well, just so that more people can have access to them. Yeah.
I hope they do some English subtitles.
Yeah, that would be great.
When that is shown outside of Afghanistan, I think that's when people really start to understand where Afghanistan is and what it's going through. I talk about Afghanistan all the time, and I work on it, and I talk to Americans about it all the time, and I talk to media, and there is still such a mystery after this so many years. How are things? What's going on? What do they want? They have a lot of needs and a lot of desires. Like, I can't even bottle it up. It's so difficult
to I get asked that a lot, and then in any kind of interview or anything else like that, it's so hard to get to the nuances of that are specific to Afghanistan, like the difficulty women have with being accepted in the working society or whatever else, because I spend my time first of all humanizing Afghans to them, and it's like, well, yes, they have weddings, yes, they have
big weddings.
Maybe bad example. They're not average weddings, but just for them to think, they're like, what do you do? No, I don't stand outside with a shield dodging bullets just full time. I go to an office. I sit at my laptop. I get frustrated when it's not working.
Mm-hmm.
They have to get that image in their head before we can move on to what is the specific situation there and what do people go through. I feel more strongly about them seeing Afghans as just human beings first before I can go into anything else. So you're right, like shows like that, for them to see it, they'll see themselves in it. That's just it's so similar. We all have the same story, give or take.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was a kid of the 70s in America. I mean, I remember rolling down the road in the car and us singing Helen Reddy songs at the top of our lungs. I mean, we've been through this moment of, women are in the workplace, get used to it, and here's all the issues that we need to talk about with it. Every society goes through these time periods.
Oh, absolutely. With the women's issue too, though, I love to give that reality check to women in Afghanistan. I have a girls mentorship program too, and one of the first messages that I give to the girls is about how difficult it is to be a girl anywhere. Granted, it's way more difficult for them, and they kind of know that, but they think it's easy everywhere else.
Yeah.
And it's not, and that's it blows their minds to think that girls go through anything. I mean, it's not the same as what they go through, but it's still a struggle, and it's very recent. Everything that we know that here, but for women there to have heard certain cases that it went on here, it didn't comfort them. They were sad that it was going on in other parts of the world too, but it made them feel more connected to the rest of the world.
Right.
And that's important.
Right. That's so great. That really is great that you're able to connect with them and let them know, because you had the experience of the westernized culture and also living in Afghanistan, that you're able to connect those dots for them, which is just priceless.
Yeah, it really does something for you, right? Knowing that, hey, it's not, I mean, imagine if we thought that it was only women in North America who suffered any sort of disadvantage. It wouldn't be the same. We know it's a global sort of, it creates this nice network feeling,
connected,
a sisterhood.
Yeah.
This has been our privilege and honor. We're really glad you came on with us. So glad we connected through social media, which I think is going to solve a lot more problems than it causes in this world.
I agree with you.
But this has been great, and we'd love to have you on again in the future to hear more about your projects. And we're going to tune into Roya, and hopefully it has some English subtitles. We'll share it here in America, and maybe we can partner with you on some of your projects.
Oh, likewise. It's been such an honor to speak to you both.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of We're Just Talking About It. We hope you continue listening, and please send us your questions or comments at wjtanc@gmail.com.